In this tutorial, we want to look at how to change the pivot points of any transformation like rotation, scaling, moving. So I'm using Blender 2.90.1. So I have these two objects here. When you look at, for example, the sphere, you will see that there is this dot here, and it's this orange dot is the pivot point where you can transform, for example, this sphere. So if I want to do some rotation, I'll be rotating it, for example, around that point. The default when you open Blender, which I did not have as default, but the default is normally the median point here. So if we are on the median point and you want to rotate, that's how it's going to be like. Or you can rotate, let's rotate two things at the same time. So I've selected this, I go to this one here, and then I go to shift and select this as well. Now if I want to, for example, rotate both, you see that this is now the median point of the two objects. This is the current object, by the way, and the current object is always indicated by the light orange color on the boundary. This is not. Okay, so if I should rotate, you see it's rotating at the median point. That is when this is the default one, but you can rotate in other forms as well. For example, if I choose the bounding box, the bounding box is similar to the pivot point more or less, because the bound, if you think of it, something like a box bounding it, and it takes the average of the center of the box, and the pivot point takes the average of the two of the points of the image objects in your scene. Now if I've changed it to this, if we want to rotate again, this the one thing is that the difference is not much when it comes to the bounding box center and the median point. Now let's go to, if in case you want to rotate relative to the cursor. So you see, the very moment I chose the cursor, this gizmo, which is used to rotate, jumped to the cursor place, and now I can, if I want to move, I'll be moving with respect to the cursor. This is a good thing because you can either move the cursor anywhere at all you like. For example, if I move the cursor here now, I can still do a rotation there, and the rotation is going to be with respect to where the cursor is. Now it's not only rotation that this is affecting, it's affecting all transformation. For example, if we say move, it moves with respect to where the thing is. You can move, of course you can move in different directions. If you've already, you know how to move, you know you can move in the X direction, you can move in the Y and the Z direction, or you can move around like this as well. That's a different thing. Okay, but now we are talking about really the pivot point. Now if we change it in such a way that we go to we want to move with respect to the active element. The active elements, as I said, is the elements that has the light orange color on its boundary. You see that if I select moves here, and now when let's maybe do a rotation. If I do a rotation, you see that it's moving around the active points. So this is more or less how you can adjust, use this pivot point here to try to maybe transform your objects as well. This can also be done if in case you don't do it, can also be done when you want to, for example, I have this cube here, and let's say I have this cube here. If we go to all this, I did was in the object mode. You can, if I go to the edit mode, for example, and I select let's say I want to select a vertex, so I select a vertex here. I can also make this vertex the place that I want to rotate at by just maybe moving my cursor. So I go to the cursor and move my cursor here, and then I can now maybe say I want to rotate. Where's the cursor? Yes, with respect to the cursor, for example. Yes, and now when I rotate, you see it's rotating more or less around the cursor. But the strange thing is that if I'm here in this edit mode, that's how it behaves. So after placing your cursor, it will be better you go to the object mode, and then now when you want to rotate, you can easily rotate around where your cursor is, more or less. Okay, I would, in my next video, I'll be looking at how to transform or how to change also the positions of these objects origin. The origin of this object, it can also be moved to different places, and then you can also do things with it. Thank you for watching. If this helped you in any way, please help me as well by subscribing to my channel or giving me a like. Thank you. Bye.